Welcome to our weekly new global media talk show. Today is September 29, 2024. Today we're going to look at President Barrow's UN speech, the content, and how valid they are in terms of what is actually happening in the Gambia. So I have my co-host, Sam Ceesay. Sam, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I'm your host here, Momodou Sawaneh. Sam, let's jump right into this discussion. We have seen the president's speech and what he mentioned he thinks that he has accomplished during his presidency or plans to accomplish. We need to go, one by one to see how valid those claims are and if at all what he's saying is actually feasible, those things are feasible. So I will let you come in and then I'll be asking you a question. You can also be asking me, and we'll take it from there.
Yep. Good. Well, thank you. Thank you. And of course, thank you to the viewers and welcome all viewers. For those who are online now and for those who are going to be watching this later on. As we all know, a UN summit is a program that's out there, and that all global leaders or global leaders in the United Nations will come in and to participate and give a speech about what they do, what they'd like to see happen, because this is a strategy to put a plan for the future. In other words, combat current situations, but then also put a plan for the future by the global leaders. And of course, we've all seen Barrow did his speech there. It was a little less than a half-hour speech, and it was um, overall the content was good. I think it was good, and but before I get to that, I do want to say that, and of course, recognize that the fact that the UN summit is a place where a lot of people from different countries will come and protest again, protest against something, or sort of demonstrate, do some demonstration in support of something, or and things like that. So that is something that we've seen, and we've seen on Barrow's side. People came in for him, and people that came in against him as well. I've seen that when President Netanyahu was also went on the stage, and people walked out the door. People have the right to do that. That's their sign of saying that we don't appreciate what is happening between Israel and Palestine. So, and what is happening in that region. So that is the global leaders' way of showing that we don't appreciate that. You need to do something. You need to stop that war, and you have the capability to do it, and you didn't do it. So we're not going to listen to you. So that's their way of doing that. We've seen President Jamal Faye on his arrival. He had a lot of crowd there, big crowd there, welcoming him to New York and welcoming him and to his presidency, and welcoming him with pride, showing that they're happy with him. So things like that happen. So when I listen to Barrow's speech, I'll just go into that. When I listen to Barrow's speech, there are things that I've heard
What
there.
are, what are the key areas that
Yeah,
you
yeah,
identify that we probably will need to
yeah,
recalculate and see
yeah,
if those actually are really how he mentioned them?
yeah, that's what I was just going to get into it. So the things that I've heard, some things that key notes that I've taken is, poverty was one of the words that he used. Justice, of course, is another word. I will mention this and then just one at a time, dive into each one of them if time allows. But also, he also mentioned since 2017, there's not been any political or journalist prisoner in the Gambia. We'll get into that as well. Migration was another one in a topic on that. OIC, being the chairman of OIC, he talked about all of that. So, and he also urged the United Nations to really assist the undeveloped countries, countries that are the least developed, and things like that. So, those are some of the things that I picked there. It could be, of course, there are more stuff, but due to time, I just wanted to talk about a few things here. So, and I want to start with the first question I want to ask is, as a leader, sometimes it's always good as a leader to make sure that what you're saying corresponds with what you're doing. Very important. In other words, walk the talk. Are you walking the talk? Are you walking what you're talking about? Things like that. But also, every leader that stands in front of the United Nations to speak there, and especially when you bring up something about your country, don't forget that a lot of leaders sitting in that room have embassies or consulate in your country that are reporting something to them every time. So, yeah, things that happen in your country, where there's corruption, anytime, anything to do with abuse, anything to do with injustice, anything to do with human rights violations, all of those are being reported to those people. So those leaders already know that. That's why it's always important for every leader when you go out to speak and you're going to talk about your country, know what to say, and don't put yourself into any situation where you may feel embarrassed, knowing that those countries already know what is happening there. So, diving straight into since 2017, he said 2017, there's not been any political prisoner. There's not been any political or journalist that has been in prison. If you look at that from one perspective of has there ever been since 2017, has there ever been a political prisoner, a journalist that's been arrested for doing something wrong, taken to court, convicted, and in prison, put in jail? If you look at it from that perspective, the answer is yes, he's right. That did not happen. As far as I know, we didn't have anything like that. But if you look at it from other human rights violations, the answer is no, because we've seen political activists. We've seen, I would say, Operation 3 Years people. We know what happened to them, right? They've been deprived from their rights, which is everyone has a right to demonstrate. Everyone has a right to go into protest. So we have seen that. We've seen what happened with them. We have seen what happened with comedian Bora. We've seen what happened with Madi Jobate, who was on our stage here last week. We've seen what happened with even Momodou and a few more people that made some comments in the public. Ibrahim Adiba, that made some comments in the public, which is a right that they have to speak. They have the right, freedom of speech. They can say what they want to say. They have those. So their freedom is been interrupted, in other words, because once these people demonstrated their freedom of speech, they were arrested. Some were called to police station, and when they went there, they were not. Some of them were not told immediately what they did wrong. Police couldn't tell them what they did wrong, so they all called them for questioning. They keep them there for interrogation for a lot of time, hours, and questioning. In fact, days. Some of them were put in there for days. So that's technically unlawful detention. In other words, if you look at it, unlawful detention did happen to people. They may not have necessarily been sentenced and taken to prison, but they have been unlawful detention and unlawful arrest in the country. So that is my take on that part. And I'm going to stop here before we get into other things and see if you want to say something.
Okay, perfect, perfect. So, based on the speech, I realized that the human rights aspect of it, he kind of um spoke about that in a sense that is appealing to the UN Assembly.
Yep.
That he doesn't have anybody in jail.
Yep.
When it comes to information sharing and when it comes to human right abuse, but in a way he was smart about it to show that he has respected all forms of
human rights. Yep.
Human rights
and democracy,
freedom, and so forth.
Yep.
Right. So technically, that is correct when you look at the facts, but that doesn't mean that he hasn't exercised abuse of power or torture, because even Bora, when he was detained, claim that he has been tortured, he was thrown in the
Yep.
blood and
Yep.
disrespected. So, in a sense, that is not too factual. So that's number one. And he mentioned women empowerment.
Mm-hmm.
That is something needed in the Gambia. If you look at President Barrow's even his cabinet setup and the government, yes,
Mm-hmm.
there are some women there, but still the representation and women empowerment in programs to elevate women in education and other stuff are still the same.
Yeah.
The only thing he could probably talk about, which is definitely not a women empowerment, which is I would say cultural and religious thing, would be FGM, FFGC. But
Mm-hmm.
besides that, I don't see his government doing anything else for the women that is considered women empowerment. And he
Okay.
also touched about climate change.
Yep.
The, the climate change is something that is easy to talk about because it's a worldwide concern.
The global. Yep.
Yeah, it's a global issue.
Concern. Yep. Mm-hmm.
So everybody will tap into it, but are you really doing anything
Anything.
that is
Yep.
going towards climate change? If you look
Yep.
at the Gambia, what has you done in that area? So even the South nature, the Gambian, I mean, the trees have been cut down, they're not being replaced.
Yep.
There is no reforestation, there is no environmental protection, you know, they, timber, smuggling, they are
Yep.
a lot of
Sand mining.
mining, sand mining.
Yep.
So there's no natural protection when it comes to that. So even, last week, I mean, a couple of weeks ago, we had that Abuko Nature Reserve was going to be used for football stadium or something like that.
I heard that too.
It was sad news for even the land minister, information minister, I mean, land minister to even think about that. But
Mm-hmm.
again, this is to show how um this government, how they think. They're not looking at, anything resourceful for the future
For the
generation.
future. Yeah.
So in that sense, what do you think? Was this just a slogan coming to the UN and, make it look like they're doing an awesome job so that they can get more funding? Our country is safe. Our country, all those things that he mentioned, safety. What is safe
Mm-hmm.
in Gambia? More people died in the Gambia than, recent years than any other years combined. Even Jawara and Jammeh's time when it comes to people killing themselves, robberies, when it comes to violent crimes. I'm not talking about, the atrocity that President Jammeh
Mm-hmm.
did, but I'm talking, and his government did, but I'm talking about Gambians killing Gambians. So where the law enforcement were not able to stop, and people are dying everywhere and committing suicide and so forth. So in that sense, security aspect, is really, really at its lowest. So I don't think Gambia, can be boastful for that. And that's the reason why even the OIC leaders, some of us didn't send their top leaders to this OIC conference in the Gambia because of security issue. That was number one concern. And of course the infrastructure. Because there was no five-star hotel where all these leaders can be at, and then there could be adequate security for them. So, in nutshell, it looks like this the speech was just a gimmick. Um, it looks good on paper, and of course, when it comes to impressing other nation, it really fulfilled that aspect. Yeah. But what other things do you think in your own
Yeah.
opinion?
And that's why I said, is he walking the talk? That's what I meant by that. Because there are certain things that as a leader, when you say things, you got to be able to show proof that you've done that or that's what you're doing in your own country. So those are very important parts of it. Yeah. And I would do. I want to add this to the women empowerment. I don't know what kind of empowerment that we have for our women in the Gambia. I've not seen anything much. That doesn't mean there's nothing in there, but women empowerment starts with really having more women in the government as well. Put more women in the government and create empowerment for women. And really, that could be headed by a woman as well. All of those are things that are in there. So and then on top of what you said, also, justice was another one that he talks about. Some justice and makes people wonder. Do we have justice for the TRRC victims? Jammeh's victims. Do we have justice for them yet? And that's been gone. Jammeh has been gone since 2016, 17. So up to now, do they have justice? And the answer to that probably is no. Maybe not probably. The answer to that is no. No justice has been done, except for a few things, couple of people, Usman Sonko in Switzerland, by law in Germany. And then you have Sankoria, I believe, Michael Sankoria in the U.S. that are being prosecuted, and a couple of people like that. And of course, Yankuba Toure being prosecuted in the Gambia and put in prison. Yeah, we've seen that. But the majority of people that are involved in those culprits are still free. They are still free going about their business when the victims have lost their lives, and then there are some victims out there that lost loved ones, and they're still sitting with that tragedy in the mind. So that is something that. But we all know, no president is going to go stand in front of the United Nations and blame himself or say anything against himself. They're not going to do that. They're always going to promote what they're doing, promote themselves, and then people can clap for them. And not only that, but at the end of the day, when they go back to square one. They go back to the same old stuff and not make any difference there. So, OIC, he talked about OIC. OIC is good. I mean, and you mentioned part of the reason why some of the OIC leaders didn't come to Gambia. And I know we've talked about this before as well. But I think as the chairman of OIC as well, one thing he can add to that is if he says, I'm the chairman of OIC, if I were him, I would prepare to come up with something as to what you're doing. What you're doing with being a chairman is not just a title to sit on a chair. The title, having a chairman, it comes along with actions. It comes along with responsibilities. So what are you doing, or what have you done? Maybe mentioning something about that. For example, if he had said, as the new chairman of OIC, I've already sent a delegation to talk with Israel and Palestine, to bring peace in that region and things like that. If he has done something, that'll be a good one to elaborate on. But that didn't happen. So but he did mention being a chairman of that. So chairman, you got to do something as well. So the other part that I want to talk about is two things. One is he is urging the United Nations to really help the undeveloped countries, countries that have little development in there and things like that. I know that this is important. I do want to say that, but sometimes when these United Nations and European countries and EU look at African countries that are underdeveloped and they're developing them, they do send some money. I mean, think about from 2017 to now, since Barrow has been in power, there has been millions and millions and millions of pound sterling, US dollars, and euro sent to the Gambia. Where's all that money? So these people know that the African countries are looking for help. But when you give them that help, the help goes somewhere else. The help doesn't really go for the intended purpose. The help ends up in some people's pockets. So they know that, and is out there in the country and because of corruption. So they know that. So it'll be nice when he says that to add that when we get that when these poor countries get the help, let's put the help into the best use for the country. and leaders and their followers really should work together to make sure that the funds for development go into development, not into anything else. And if he emphasizes that, that'd be good. But that didn't happen. And the last but not the least that I want to talk about is the migration part, knowing that migration has a lot of risk. There's a lot of risk, a lot of people risking their lives. And I feel sorry and sympathize with people that lost their loved ones in this and those who lost their lives in the seas with all of these boats and boat trips that they're taking from Gambia and Senegal and that African country there, trying to get to some part of Europe, whether it's Italy or Spain or whatever part they're trying to get to. Crossing the oceans to get there is a very risky is a very risky task, and knowing how risky that is, it will be very important. And I have a suggestion as to what the solution is. But before you get into solution, every country that has people migrating from your country taking the risk, and a certain percentage of them are dying in the water. Some people get lost. We don't even find them. We don't even know where they are. They got lost. They got probably eaten by fish in the water. So because the boats collapse and the boats are overloaded all the times, overloaded. They run out of fuel. They run out of food. I mean, it's a tragedy. This is something that shouldn't be happening. But everyone need to look at what is the root cause, because you got to look at the root cause. The root cause is, or part of the root cause is the youths don't have any hope. They lost hope. They are not getting the hope that can hold them to stay in the country, hoping that there is going to be a light at the end of the tunnel. If they stay in their country, they're going to get good jobs. They're going to have good paying jobs. They're going to be able to support themselves and their families. They lost that hope, and they're looking at a few people that made it through the backway journey and then made it to Europe, and they're working and they're supporting and helping their family. This is it. This is the root cause. That's why they're going. They lost hope. So what can you do in a country like Gambia? What can we do to keep them? What can we do to stop them? There are certain things. You've got to create something for the youth that is very sustainable. And, I came up with ideas and I came up with solutions and came up with proposals that I've mentioned in the past. So, even picking any type of a project or something that will encourage the youth to all go into something like that will be very good, and it will discourage a lot of them going, because now they know there's hope, there's light at the end of the tunnel, they can see their future developing into those things and into careers and things like that. So when the youths are not seeing that, that's part of the problem. But the other part is Gambia and Senegal can really collaboratively can work on something, because the president is also the commander in chief, right? So as a commander in chief, if you all it takes sometimes is send a simple message, use your power, and deploy the Gambia. I won't even say the army, but the Navy and State Guard, and send them to all of these ports of entry and exit. Have them guard those places for 6 months. Give them a temporary assignment. 6 months, go to all these places, anywhere along the river. Have camps in there for these people. We supply them food and water. Let them build their tents and camps in there to be able to guard, and give them, of course, the boats for them to be able to travel and patrol in there. The Navy has boats. I don't know how many they have, but give them resources. In other words, provide resources for them, and have them guard our area from one end all the way to the other end. And anywhere that boats can travel from Senegal to enter Gambia, both sides of the river, guard those areas. Once you do that, that's one way to do it. You stop people migrating first while you're creating something for them in the country. Because when there's tragedy like people losing their lives, that's so important that before you even look at the root cause, you got to stop it first. I always give this example. The example is when a building catches fire and there are people in the building. All right, it's a big apartment building that catches fire. There are people in there. You call 911, the fire department gets there. What do they do first? They don't go there and start pulling their pens and papers and clipboards and start writing what happened, who did what, when did it start, where did the fire start. They don't do that. They go in there first to save lives, to stop the fire and save lives. That's the key. They stop the fire, they go in, find a way to get in and save lives. Once you do that and you save lives and put out a fire, after all of that is when you look at the root cause. Yeah, there are certain things that you start with the root cause, but when you have an emergency like this where people's lives are at stake, you start with stopping it first, then go back to the root cause and do the root cause analysis and see what happened and come up with a plan, a solution, right? So I think the president can really do something like that. Send the National Guard, Gambia Navy, if necessary, send the army to help them. But let's patrol all of those areas and have camps in there. That camps that way. Group A will patrol all the way to this level. Group B will patrol from here to that side. Group C patrol from here to there. They cover the whole area. Like I said, both sides. When they do that, well, not only no boat can leave Gambia and go with migrants, but no boat can come from Senegal to come pick up people from Gambia either, right?
Right.
If they start that from Banjul, Barra, Bakau area, Sanyang, I mean, from Senegambia, you go to Bigelow, Brookwood, Kujeran, Tangye, Sanyang, all the way to Carter.
Mhm.
They got all that area. And other sides, like I said, they know better. They know where these people are taking off from and stop them from going. That's important. Once you stop them, you stopping their life from loss.
Right.
That's the key to it. While again putting a plan in place for the youth. We've got to have something for them. You cannot just tell them you can't travel, but you don't have anything for them in the country. They have trouble getting money to buy their even own attire. Some have trouble getting that. They can't even afford a tire. So what do you want them to do? I mean, let alone helping their parents. They don't want to see their parents struggle for years and years and years, struggling and to make ends meet, and going from hand to mouth. That's hard. This is part of their problem, and I think that could be a part of the solution.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you said it about my illegal migration. I think the president said that um they have made some arrangements with other countries in Europe so that
Yep,
could be mitigated and controlled. But
I understand. I saw that. Yeah, I heard that.
yeah.
Yep,
So,
yep,
but what the president don't understand is that having to make a arrangement and getting incentive for deporting these folks
mhm.
it might be beneficial to the government, but not to the citizens, because these
And to
people
the
are
people.
already
Yep,
there.
yep,
So what Jammeh used to do is that he doesn't usually accept them. And he was doing that, and that had worked. You can hold your incentive, you can do whatever, because the fact of the matter is these people are just looking for their own interest, but not the interest of the society at large. Because these people who already sacrificed and they're there, those ones, returning those ones back, it's not gonna be a gain for Gambia and its people. But this is the folks that this government didn't understand. So they're thinking that they're making a relationship, but relationship, whose side is favoring most? So you look at
yep,
that. So I think that's why some of those agreements been signed by the foreign minister and the government. Those might not be a good agreement. Now,
yep,
what they should have done, like you just spoke about, they should have created ways how to mitigate this traveling over, through this back way. There should be a heavy fine, attached to it, because some of these people who travel, they go to even the law enforcement. I had some military people or some police sometimes even join them. So it's not like, it's something that sometimes they even, pay off these people. So having to have these patrols there could work if at all those ones are not gonna be corrupted, to allow it to go. And then another thing is sometimes they go to Senegal. If they travel to Senegal and take the boat from there, I mean, Senegal and Gambia is very close. I mean,
yep,
it just be a few hundred. few thousand bucks and few thousand dollars and you're there.
Yeah.
So no matter how they block these entries or these gateways where these boats pass, there's still another absence out there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the fact of the matter is sensitization. Like what had happened, this couple of months, a lot of boats have disappeared. Somebody called me yesterday and say that a family member, two of them that I know the dads passed away. Um,
Wow.
their boat was stranded, right? It lost fuel, lost everything. The food
Yeah.
was finished, and
That's common.
people were literally there, dying one after another,
Yep.
dying one after another. Sometimes the ones that are dying, they throw them in the sea.
Of course they have to. Yeah. Yeah.
So you see your partner, who couldn't sustain the hunger under the condition, they throw them. Now, he said that 33 of them out of, I don't know, 60 something, 33 of them died inside the boat when
Wow.
throwing them. So imagine you go in in this boat and you stay there and you get lost, fuel finished, food finished, and you literally have no rescue team close to you, and you literally stay there and die. I mean, what is more painful like that? You knowing that, I'm gonna die and it's going slowly. So I think some people went to a point that knowing that they cannot be rescued, knowing that they have suffered enough, they throw themselves inside the sea and just finish one time because it's painful. Those who remain there, hoping that somebody will rescue them, end up dying in the sea, I mean, in the boat. So I think by the time rescue team came, those people were inside the boat. They found dead there. The rest were all, sent off by the sea to the seashore. So according to this family member, um, they received the body, I think, somewhere at the coast, and then they send them they identify them and then they send them to the Gambia. So is this what we're gonna continue to let our citizens, our children go through just because of this hype that when I go to Europe, I will make it or my life will be changed? So this is the problem. I think, sensitization, having to have strict laws, probably fines of people attempting to do this. If we think it's okay, then people will exploit it. Because because of the mindset that people have in that country now. Everybody's thinking about material, everybody's thinking about, the next person. Well, we don't know that what we are going out to look for is even in our country. It's just that we need strong leadership, you know, strong management, and also we need to work. All these European countries, they worked. I once mentioned this. I met somebody here in the US, and he told me that you Africans are coming here, right, to make a better living. And guess what happened? It's not that something wrong with you where you came from. It's something wrong with you guys. He said, if we had to switch back, a lot of Africans come to Europe or to the West and stay there. And we go back to Africa where you came from. 10 years later, you're gonna leave here to go and struggle in Africa
Yep.
where we were. I said, are you serious? He said, yes. He said, because it's not this place. Where you came from is richer than here. It's the mindset and then the way you guys are. So I thought about that for a couple of years and then I started to see what the man was saying. So it's not about the place.
Yeah.
It's where, it's the people, the mindset, the way they operate, the way they work, the way they unite together and do stuff. Everything has to be done according to the people. It's not about the space. You can even, why is it that, in this in the Arctic or in places where it's so cold to even exist, there's development there. Places that you cannot even imagine. Africa is blessed with good weather, good soil, good minerals. Here
Yeah,
it's so cold that if you don't have a heater, you can end up dying. So
yep,
it would be easier over there than here.
yep. Our problem is our leaders.
Kwame Nkrumah once mentioned this. It's not that Africa is poor, it's
Correct.
Africans that are poor.
Yep.
And then Putin said this: the resources that Africa has can feed the whole Africa,
Mm-hmm.
whole world.
Yep.
Resources and the food that we have, it can feed the whole continent without even importing anything from Europe and elsewhere.
Yep.
So people have researched this, and then this is so factual. But I don't know what happened to our leadership,
Yep.
what
Is
happened to
yeah.
our mindset,
I want to get into that
way,
too. Yeah.
yeah, what happened to the way we operate as people? Why can we not come together, unite, instead of infighting? Why are we not supportive to each other's business? Why are we not have clean heart towards each other's well-being? I think all this combined has something to do with where we are. It's a combination of many. It's not just
Yep.
like leadership.
Correct.
Leadership is there, but societal operation, function, mindset, heart, and everything combined to put us where we are. But go ahead.
Yeah. So I that is all true. And I put more emphasis on leadership than anything because as an individual, you can have all the great minds that you have in your country, and you want to do something and you get blocked, or you want to do something but you don't have access to it. So it starts with leadership. Yes, people need to change their mindsets as well. It starts with leadership. Now, here's a perfect example in Africa and in Gambia. If they do just like, start building factories, when they start building factories to manufacture all the minerals that we have in Africa and all the things that we can grow in Africa, and nobody will be leaving Africa because the jobs will be there just like in America. For example, an American company called GM, General Motors, that is manufacturing all these General Motor vehicles, all these vehicles. They're manufacturing GM vehicles. They're manufacturing Chevrolet. They're manufacturing Buick. They're manufacturing Saturn. All of these are different branches that created a lot of job opportunities. You have Ford that also is manufacturing different types of vehicles. All right. Uh, Now, all of these create avenues. If Africa would just take that and take the minerals that we have in all of Africa and create our own factories in there, and we manufacture them and send them overseas and ship them and sell it to the Western world, Africa will be rich. Africa will be rich.
Mm.
And because of the employment opportunities that will be there for a lot of African youth to work, everybody will have a very good paying job. So, and as a result, when you have all the youths or a lot of majority of the youths have good paying job and they're all working, then you don't get to see people fighting each other because you're making money, I'm making money, right? I'm happy at home, you're happy at home. Why do you go after me? No reason to go after me. But if things are one-sided, the leaders are not willing to do that. They want to take the lion's share of everything that we have in Africa. When the leaders do that, the ones below them capitalize on the rest of it. Well, then you will find the ones that are poor that don't have the opportunity fighting them. They will look at them as, why do you have that and I don't have it? This is the fight this is what brings the fight. But if everybody gets the same thing, then there will not be any fight. Yeah, of course, people are going to feel jealous. If you're in the Gambia, you see Gambia government officials, you have people working in the government, building very nice big houses, driving nice cars, and dressing up very nice. But you know that this is not their salary. Their salary cannot afford all of this. And you are out there, you don't even know what to buy for breakfast tomorrow. How are you going to look at that person? You're from the same country. Why are they in that situation and you're not? Why are they making all of that money, making more money than what their actual salary is, right? But then you're sitting here poor. So it becomes one sided. And the poor will start to go against the rich people. And part of the reason behind it, the only reason behind it is because the rich people are taking all their resources. This is the problem. So what African leaders need to do is capitalize on the minerals that they have, create manufacturing out of those minerals and resources that they have, build those in there, create a lot of job opportunities for youth and all of the people in Africa, a lot of people in there, then we won't be looking for going overseas. Because some of Africans or some Africans are living overseas, they go into Spain to go farm in the farms. Well, we can farm those farms. We can grow potatoes. We can grow corn. We can grow groundnuts. We can grow tomatoes in Gambia if we have a big factory there that is going to pay people a lot of money, good amount of money, more than a minimum wage. Pay them good so they can survive. They can support themselves and their families. If we have that, then those Africans will not leave Africa, cross the oceans to go to Spain to work in tomato fields or in the cornfields. Right. Or potato farms. So if you look at it, this is part of the problem. Our leaders, so that most of the blame will come from the leaders. Because if the leaders do the right thing and treat everyone the same way, then we wouldn't be fighting each other. But that's what we lack in Africa. Leaders take up the lion's share of what belongs to the country, and the rest of the people suffer. And that's what creates this. Yep.
So how about the protest that we saw? By the way,
yeah.
Before I just move up to that, let me just play a little clip of what President's speech was before we just move away from that.
Okay.
It's like 2 minutes. Right?
Yep. Yeah. That's fair enough.
Yeah. Because in this clip, he definitely says some interesting stuff, and then I think just for the sake of
invite him to address the assembly.
I will try to do this quick.
You're trying to share the video, right?
Yeah.
Okay. If not, you could play the audio. I heard the audio also, so that would also help.
You hear the audio?
Yeah, when you just clicked on it first time, and like the person introducing them.
Of the UN General Assembly.
Yep, I can hear the president now.
Secretary General, Mr. Antonio Guterres.
Can you see it too?
Your Majesties.
No, I can hear it but not see it.
Heads of state and government. Heads of delegation. Distinguished delegates. Ladies and gentlemen. It is an honor for the Gambia to participate in the 79th session of the United Nations.
Can you see it now?
Now it's good, yes.
And to engage
in
meaningful dialogue with global leaders and partners on the vision of shaping a more prosperous future for humankind. Your Excellency, Mr. President, allow me to express my heartfelt congratulations to you on your assuming role of president for the 79th session. I similarly wish to register sincere gratitude to His Excellency Ambassador Dennis Francis for his exemplary leadership and accomplishments during the 78th session. Mr. President, as we undertake to chart the future we envision, we welcome the initiative presented by Secretary General Guterres at the summit of the future under the theme Multilateral Solutions for a Better Tomorrow. My delegation firmly believes that the path to a better tomorrow lies in multilateralism and closer international cooperation. Through our collective responsibility and inclusive participation.
This must be the Gambians.
Confront and overcome.
Yeah, we can see some of the UN personnel from the Gambia.
Yeah.
High-level summit of the future has determined that human actions are largely responsible for the challenges we face today. Therefore, it is within our power to ably address the disasters that continuously trouble our nations.
So we're gonna stop here.
Okay.
So just to summarize everything that the president says, this is just to give a preview of the speech at the assembly. We exhausted some of the key points that he mentioned already, so no need to go back.
Yep.
But I would bring up the protests, which I tried to find the other one that you were talking about. But I don't know if we have that. So let me see. Can you see my screen?
No, not your screen.
Not my screen, right?
No, I just see you, and that's it.
Okay. So, but let's talk about this while I find the video. The protest in New York was really, really engaging. We have seen some political officials that were confronted. Dr. Ceesay was one of them, and Dr. Sawaneh. Those ones I saw on the video. And then what people were claiming were, the babies that were killed as a result of that medicine, that illegal medicine, of course, term limit, no to third terms, Gambian suffering, cost of living, TRRC, and host of other issues. So these are valid points. They felt like the government is not really doing, and the expectations are not being met. So what do you think about the validity of their protest?
Well, from a human rights standpoint and democracy, and people have the right. It's their fundamental right to protest against anything or do a demonstration for something. So that is their right, and they have every right to do that. And I think, like I said earlier, every country is different. Every leader is different. It all depends on how your people look at you, not how the world look at you, because the world is not going to protest against you unless you are at a certain magnitude, like President or Prime Minister Netanyahu of Israel. When he came up, and a lot of leaders walk out the door. They walked out. That is their sign. That is their right. That is their fundamental right to demonstrate, to show that they're protesting against him based on what is happening in his region, and he has control over it and didn't do what needs to be done to stop the war. So other countries, we have Gambia. Our president was there. There were people that went out to show their appreciation for what he is doing in the Gambia. And there is another group that went in there to show their dissatisfaction of things that are happening in the Gambia. And they all have their reasons. And it's always number one reason for Gambia is always corruption. Corruption is killing us. So that is the number one reason. And then then they will talk about other things. And unfortunately, yes, it is true. Corruption is in Gambia, and the president does not have the solution for it. Does not have anything that could be a permanent solution for corruption there. Signing an anti-corruption bill doesn't stop corruption. You've got to have certain things in place to be able to stop corruption, including strategic system changes, and those didn't happen. So a bill is just a bill. It's just like on any other bill that is out there, but people are still doing what they want to do and not follow the laws. So protests. I know I didn't see what all of them wrote on their flyers, but they did talk about the children that died.
Let me show it one so you can just like 1 minute, okay?
I saw one that was on a video on a truck showing that whatever all those children that died.
Yeah, let me just do this quick.
Yeah, but so according to mentor, Barrow exposed guys and the junior, Sapalia, and Coven the Bangkok. So Toko Abia and New Gambia and Chilipalia and Melan in Bangkok. Yes. Oh, Gambia Musol the Fakane, Gambian coast and base like a co. Nianya television and Kelowna and the co. Bangkok the Hano Yan, Bangkok in the Padada, Minimum in Tower the War, Meriari Fara Moroto. Mail dandela bi nimoto be rawanda New York ko janne ka Gambia man sakuna expose Paul mel be la ba ko dole ka inshallah wala Gambia do la tel mel be sini sol ko nga
they want him gone.
Yep. They're saying dictator, bring back whatever, no third term.
No third
term. Yeah. And about the children, of course, 66 children that died, women. Yeah, all of these are things that they have right to do. I mean, and they're true. A lot of women died. It is true that we lost 60 children, at least 66 children. And things like that. So. Yeah, these are all their fundamental rights. They have every right to do this, and we see this happening in a lot of countries, a lot of places. So, everybody has the right to speak their mind. Yeah.
So that is.
I just couldn't read all of the signs.
Just in New York, they say no to dictatorship.
Yeah. So they have that truck going around in New York there, right? Showing that a lot of people are going to read that, going to see what is on there. Some people won't even bother to watch and look at it. But yeah, some very important messages, things that are a trouble for Gambia or trouble in Gambia. And, like I said, they have every right to put that out. They have every right to protest against all of that.
But what what was so funny or kind of really I couldn't still get over with was that when Dr. Ceesay and Dr. Sawaneh were confronted, right?
Okay.
By some, I don't know if the people are journalists or
okay. Yeah.
They end up going towards the police and trying to look for sanctuary, not knowing that
this is New York. This is America, right?
It's not like Gambia. I mean, you go to the police for what? I mean, so this is how limited their knowledge is. See, and this is to show you how different, countries are. In Gambia, if you do that, the police will handcuff you because they look at them as some, Samite god or somebody with power, right? So that is not actually freedom. What they found out, especially Dr. Ceesay, when he went to the police and said, talk to this guy, the police smiled. And then he looked like, I cannot even express the word how funny that was. So, and he ended up walking because the police smiled. How would you talk to somebody who is talking to you? It's not like they're physically abusing you. It's a word of freedom, man. Freedom.
Yeah, Yeah, there was no abuse involved. There's no criminal
And
activity.
even
There was
then,
no
you know what they
nothing in
didn't
there. So
understand, Dr. Samadi and Dr. Ceesay, is that
hmm
when you are an elected officer, you are a public representative, you cannot say they are abusing you. You are people's power,
yep,
right? So there's no such thing as abuse. Anybody can question you and they can,
yep,
you know, chase you to get in.
yep,
And as long as they didn't hit you physically or abuse you,
yep,
they can ask you and tell you even words that you don't even feel like hearing.
yep,
That
hmm
doesn't make it a crime because you're a public officer and you
yep,
cannot do that harassment. So this is what people don't understand. If it is normal person, yes,
hmm
I'm not holding any political office. If somebody is coming, you can say they harass you, they're trespassing. But
yep,
you are somebody who need to be accounted for.
hmm
I
yep,
think they still didn't get that. I think
yeah.
moving forward, they need to be sensitized when they're coming to places like New York, in the US or in the West. They need to be, they need to have thick skin and be ready. Nobody's gonna physically,
Yeah, this is America, man.
yeah,
This is America.
you gotta have thick skin and take it because
It's not Africa.
but you calling the police, trying to run away, that's not gonna solve it. If I were
Yeah,
them, I would just speak and defend myself.
yeah, stand there and defend
And say,
yourself and speak
and
and
tell
say,
them,
what you know,
and then
and yeah,
tell them to be polite,
yep,
tell
yeah,
them both side of the story.
yeah. Yeah, that
So
would have been the right thing to do.
that would be
Speaking,
the
stopping, and talking to that person rather than walking towards the police and think that the police will intervene. The police is not going to intervene because there was no crime. There was nothing in there. So no abuse, no crime. So police won't intervene in that. I mean, this is America. They know the police know what is right. They know when they need to get involved. They are not like Gambian police that you call them and they come and put somebody in handcuffs without even knowing what that person did.
and then
This is America.
who did that to Jammeh? And then
Yeah,
he make fool out of himself by trying to call police to intervene. But he doesn't understand those people will not do that.
they won't do that. They won't do that because
Yes.
they know that these people have the fundamental rights
Yeah.
to speak their mind. They have freedom of speech. They're not attacking you. They're not beating you. They're not doing anything. They're not abusing you. So please don't have anything to do with that.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
But
yeah,
anything else before we wrap up? Because I know we
no, no. I think we should wrap it up now. That's is enough has been said. I think overall, we've all seen what happened. A lot of people have watched that video, I'm sure, and there's also a lot of people that didn't watch what happened. So, but this platform will give people that summary of what happened there and that they didn't see and things like that. So it's a good thing. And at the end of the day, my final words. At the end of the day,
Mm.
the president spoke. His speech was well written for him. I'll put it that way, well written for him. And he followed that and read it through all the way through. It sounds pretty good. My question always going to be, are we walking the talk? Are we doing what we're talking about? Are we doing or are we going to do something? What is our plan? So those are things that to really think about. When you're advising people to do something, you've got to be the cheerleader of that. You have to be the person that's going to start. You have to be in the shoes and do it. You have to be doing that yourself, and then you can advise people to do something like that. And always also, like I always say, every president should keep in mind that you have a lot of countries that have diplomatic ties with the Gambia, and they have their embassies in the Gambia. Everything that popped up on the newspaper, they know it. If you harass and capture a journalist for saying something and you take them to detain them in police custody for questioning, is on the paper, is on the news. These people already know that. So anything that happened to people that violates people's human rights
Right.
is all out there. These countries' presidents already know about that. So just don't. It's just something to keep in the back of their minds and when they're talking. So, but overall, I think we've gone through quite a bit in here and summarized it.
Yeah, I think also our viewers would really pick up the reality of this UN speech. Because the thing is
Yep.
like I know the UN speech is not all about coming to give speech. It's coming to
Yep.
network, try to get opportunities, try
Yep.
to sell your country, you know,
Yep.
and
Yep.
to make, other economic impact. So that's why the president themselves, they come here and then speak. The only
Yep.
thing I have issue with is the way he's present his speech. I always don't like see it connecting when you are always looking in on paper
Yeah.
and reading,
Yeah.
you know.
Yep.
They need to be, they need to be well versed in presentation. Try
Yeah.
to grasp a topic and speak on it.
Yeah.
Your own, your own understanding and your
Yep.
own language, right? Well,
Yeah.
your own
Yeah.
language means your own, something not written for you word for word.
Yeah. Yeah.
This
You're just
president,
reading paper.
Jammeh has been doing this. The only person who didn't do this was Jawara, I think.
President Jawara. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think he
Yeah.
was really better. Grab the concept. Like let's say, you know, um, something like OIC. Just explain, the points. Looking
Yeah.
at the audience, I'm connecting to each and everybody. If you see U.S. presidents, this is what they do. Even Donald Trump, who is,
Mhm.
you know, this when he was the president, doesn't come and read word for word.
Yeah.
Going like
Yeah.
this,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah. That's it. You're
distracting.
not connecting with the
Secondly,
people.
yeah,
Yeah.
secondly, you're reading.
Yeah.
You're not really selling.
Yep.
Because once you started to pick up a point and persuade people, you is different from a speech being written. Obama
Yep.
did right to speak for you. You look at it, you understand the context, and you
Yep.
deliver it in your own way.
Yep.
So
Yep.
I think
All they need is the headlines. If you have the headlines for topic one and then topic two, then topic three, they study, do their homework before coming and look at what's the detail of all of that. The first headline, what's the detail there? What do you want to talk about? Get that, practice, master it, stand in front of a mirror, do your speech, in front of a mirror, or put your family down to sit down and listen to you and all that. So I know presidents won't do that, but they do their practice though. They should be looking at content of the documents and look at all the facts there, know that in the back of your head. So when you say, "Oh, I see," you know what to say. When you say global pandemic, you know what to say there. When you say climate change, you know what to say there. So those bullet points. That way, when you're talking, as a leader, generally in presentation, your eyes should be moving every 3 to 5 seconds. You
exactly.
should be looking at people, not going down here and then up. You should
Yeah,
be looking at people so that that place is huge. I've been in similar situations like that, not that big, but where we have to have two screens there because there are too many people. I've seen that, but in if it's a normal size, it should be something where
this is the
every individual sitting in the room think that you're looking at them
this is not a
because you
speech.
will have
This
eye
is
contact with them.
right. This is not a speech. This is reading.
Yeah, yep,
The president was reading. He was
yep,
not a speech.
yeah.
Because,
It was
the way
reading. Yep,
the speech is you gotta communicate with audience and let them laugh, take a
yep,
pause, come to another place,
yep.
and even make jokes crack jokes during the speech. That's you see Obama and other leaders do that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But you just
Yep,
stand there, just like
yep.
Jammeh, reading from screen, paper to paper. It's so distracting. And you know what? Some people can even end up not even listening because it's better to listen on audio than to be even in that theater or that room.
You know one thing about we all talk about this. Gambia, we like to say things, we like to write things, but when it comes to doing it, it's always a problem. I guarantee you, even the person that wrote the speech, when they have to come out and say this, chances are they will be looking at the paper most of the time as well. They writing it and then really standing in front and saying it is
Because they
different.
didn't
So
because they did
so yeah,
not internalize it.
yeah,
And
we
probably
don't,
not,
yeah.
yeah, they don't internalize it and probably not even true. So if
Mm-hmm.
something is not, the content is not that true, you don't internalize it.
Yep, 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 yep. And this is something I said some time ago in the past years, and even this year, sometime I was talking about this during the National Assembly, the president's address to the nation. I said the same thing. Don't read the paper. If you do your due diligence and you do at least once a month or once a quarter at least, meet with your cabinet. Cabinet sits down and have every minister present what is happening there, and you follow through everything. Then you should be able to stand up there and then talk about every ministry without looking at paper. You know, just like that. You know, so
But I think it's either laziness or lack of knowledge. Oh,
it's not laziness. It's not laziness. It's
inability
not.
to communicate thoughts.
Yeah. It's just
Or
the ability to stand out and express yourself without looking at paper. That's what it
or
is.
maybe you don't even know how to speak English well. That could
Well, I don't know. But
because
anyway, so it was
if you are a profound speaker, you shouldn't read from word to word. What
no,
is it, of are you coming and speaking correct English to
yeah,
people? But if
yeah,
you're scared, you're not a profound speaker, you write it, you will
yeah,
like it to be written for you
yeah,
because you don't want to make
yeah.
the whole world laugh.
And speaking in front of people is not easy. Definitely not easy. Is a hard thing. So I know how it is. I've done so many of them that I know how it
But
is.
if you pursue a position of leadership like presidency,
You got to get
this is
better.
something that you need to be prepared for.
Yeah, yeah,
Either you
yeah,
have to go to school every day, but
yeah,
you have
yeah,
to learn from the job if you don't have it.
yeah.
But I
Absolutely.
think
So
they might be lazy or they might not be knowledgeable.
I
I
don't think
think
it's lazy. I don't think it's being lazy. I don't think that's the key there. But it's more like not familiar with that kind of a speech. They don't know how to do that because they've never practiced and done
Sam,
something
don't
like this
make it
before.
nice. They are not just knowledgeable.
Well, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
They don't they don't know how. That's what I said. That's what I mean. They don't have to know how, so they don't know how.
So they
So
go to school and learn.
yeah,
But
but
again, the most important thing here is he came and and he's gone. I believe they're gone now.
what
So
kind of delegation did he bring with him? Because I know years ago when this happened, he chatted a flight, and then with a lot of delegation, a lot of
this
people.
time around, I don't know if they came with a flight, their personal flight.
Okay,
Because there was
okay,
another time that they came to I believe to commercial flight at one
yeah,
of the
yeah,
I think trip here or somewhere. But
yeah. That
this
should be the right thing.
yeah, they just to save some money. But this time
Yep.
around, I don't think they will come with commercial.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess we can
So
wrap this up.
yeah, I hope our viewers
Enough said.
understand. We are here to inform our viewers. And again, when we have leaders, we have to really I mean not criticize but critique them where they are improving and where they need to improve.
Constructive
Yes,
criticism.
this
Yeah,
discussion is great.
something that is going to help them. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah,
So this discussion is great, and then perhaps they will benefit from it. Thank you so much, Sam.
absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. Yep. Thank you.
All right. So
Yep.
great.
Have a great evening.
You too.